JJ, thanks for speaking to us today.
Thanks for being spoken to.
Your first Star Trek, your first Star Trek
Weirdest
film.
answer ever given. Yeah.
Your first Star Trek film was all about bringing the crew together and about introducing us to the characters.
Yep.
Where do you take them in Star Trek Into Darkness?
The idea was to take these characters who, like you say, just met in the other film and kind of start over and sort of say, now they've been together for a while, how are they tested? What happens? What do they go through as a unit? Because the first film we did was these sort of disparate orphans forming a family. But we needed to approach this movie like its own thing, so that you don't have to have seen the other film or certainly the TV show to see this movie.
The element of surprise is a really important part of this film. There's some moments which will probably blow people's minds when they see them. How important do you feel like that mystery is in the work that you do?
Well, it's critical that, for me, that we don't spoil the experience for the moviegoers. People should be compelled to see it. I get it, you have to show some stuff. You want people to understand what they're, get a taste of it. But you don't want to ruin the big surprises, and that happens so often. I go to a movie, and I can have enjoyed the movie very much, but I feel like, God, I actually knew 95% of that stuff before I even got there, and it makes me crazy. So for me, the goal is, even after the sort of, like the denouement, the story's over, you go, I didn't know all of that was going to happen. I don't want people to feel like they were sort of given the synopsis, complete synopsis, and then they happen to go watch it all the way through. I want them to go through it and scream when the unexpected happens. I want them to gasp when a moment that they didn't expect happens. If you know it all, it's kind of an exercise of watching it, sort of proving what you know, as opposed to actually being on a ride and viscerally experiencing it.
There, we can lose him there. You are suggesting that we utilize the passage between the approaching structures. This ship will not fit. We'll fit. Captain, we will not fit.
We'll fit!
We'll fit!
Even before you arrived at the Star Trek franchise, the Star Trek universe was already so vast. How much do you allow that to inform your approach to what you're doing, versus starting with this clean slate and approaching the characters anew?
Well, I never was a Star Trek fan, so for me, I was sort of discombobulated. I got into this situation, and there was all this stuff I didn't know, and terminology and technobabble and stuff, and I just thought, it's tricky for me. I need to find my way in where I care, and we just focused on the characters and the people that made you laugh and cry, and the characters you really felt were real and that you could invest in. I appreciate what Roddenberry created, but this movie is not meant for Star Trek fans. This movie is meant for fans of movies, and hopefully the adventure that they go on will make people unexpectedly into fans of Star Trek.
The body of your work is amazingly diverse, from Felicity to Alias to Star Trek and beyond. Do you feel like there's some kind of kernel at the heart of everything that you do that sort of unifies it?
Every project sort of comes into being in different ways and for various reasons, and I think that while there have been some good lessons in working on some things that I didn't really, in my gut, feel were the right thing to do, and those typically are things that don't really pan out as you would hope. But the truth is that the only thing I could say really is that there's that sense of wanting to see it myself as an audience member. I think you're in trouble when you start to guess what the audience is going to want. You start to do it for them as opposed to really for yourself and for what makes you get the chills and makes your heart pound and make you laugh or make you scream. And those are the things where you go, okay, well, at least it's coming from an authentic place. And I think that, especially with blockbusters, the thing that is in short supply as a moviegoer is authenticity. So when you see something sort of wonderful and heartfelt, and whether it's Chris Nolan or Joss Whedon or any number of directors who have put their heart into what they do, I think that you feel it, but they love it and they feel it and they live it and they breathe it, and then through osmosis it comes through in the movie.
The original Star Trek really made a virtue out of holding a mirror up to society. So we saw all sorts of issues, civil rights issues, the Cold War played out. Do you feel that Star Trek Into Darkness speaks to the 21st century in the same way that the original Star Trek did?
I wish that Star Trek Into Darkness weren't as relevant as it is, that the storyline of a kind of homegrown terrorist and someone living among us. A lot of the movie takes place in and about Earth, and I think that the story, I wish it were a little bit more fantastic or fantastical than it is, but the truth is that Star Trek is not a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. It's us in the future, and so there is, and there always has been, a sense of, projecting forward what could happen and where might we be. So I think that it is relevant, and again, it was not strategic. We weren't thinking, what would Roddenberry do? But we wouldn't presume, but we were trying to honor the spirit with which he approached his creation.
What does a man do with such a curse? He fears making a mistake that will get his entire crew killed. And I will make sure of it.
JJ Abrams, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.